All right, thanks for joining us tonight, and we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who are joining us for the first time since we started these last week, welcome, and we're happy to be speaking with you tonight and sharing about Elon Law. Just as a reminder, you all should be muted, and if you would like to ask a question, you can chat those into me, or you can chat to me and tell me you'd like to ask a question, and I will unmute you so that you can present your question to the panel. So I've got two of our current students with us. Hunter, he is a 2L, and if you were on last week, you met him then. And then we also have Casey joining us tonight, and she is a 2L as well. So they will both be here to answer questions you have about the student experience, and then Dean Woodlief and I are here to answer any questions you have about admissions in the law school. I guess for those of you who don't know, I am Jordan Jones. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions, and I'm very excited for you all to be on here tonight, and I'm looking forward to the start in the fall and seeing you all in person then. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Dean Woodlief.
Okay, thanks, Jordan, and thanks everyone for being with us tonight. We hope everybody's doing well. Maybe a little stir crazy, but it's good we can spend time together tonight. And things are going well here at Elon Law. We're in our third week of online instruction for the spring trimester, and from all reports, things are going well. And we are making plans for the fall and look forward to having everybody with us. Jordan introduced herself in admissions. In addition to working with Jordan in the admissions office, I teach a variety of classes, remedies, secure transactions, professional responsibility. Also work with our moot court teams. We're looking forward to our our first years are getting ready to start doing their oral arguments in their legal method and communication class. And then we'll have our intramural moot court competition virtually. That'll be online like this, probably on Zoom or WebEx or something like that. So that'll make for a unique, interesting experience, but it'll be a lot of fun. And students who do well in the intramural competition go on to be on the moot court board. And so we look forward to that. So that's one of the most fun things I get to do, is to work with the moot court teams and moot court board. And so we'll be talking to you about a lot of those things tonight. Dean Armijo's presentation hits on things like the moot court board, but also our residencies and other things that I know our students, Casey and Hunter, will be glad to share information with you as well. So I'll turn it back to Jordan and we can get started. Thank you.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to share with y'all is a video that was recorded by our Dean of Academics, Dean Armijo, and he shares a lot about our academic programming. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you guys. And if you have questions along the way, feel free to type those into me. It's not wanting me to share this video with you. Just a second. All right, I think I've got it now. All right, so this is a video that Dean Armijo recorded.
Hello, welcome to those of you who aren't able to visit us in person in Greensboro. My name is Enrique Armijo. I'm the academic dean at Elon Law School. And this short video is intended to get you to learn a little bit more about Elon's academic program. And as you'll see, and as I'm sure you've been hearing and reading about in your research, this is a very unique place. So you'll be hearing a lot, and as I said, you've been reading a lot about how Elon Law is different from what law school has been in the past, and even what law school is now, maybe as compared to some of the places you've been thinking about going in addition to Elon. This is a truly unique place. So Elon was established to be a law school with a difference. It's been recognized for its innovation and excellence. You see there some of the recognitions that Elon Law has gotten for that work. The most recent recognition we received was as a top 10 law school in the country for practical training. So you see recognized as an innovative law school, getting serious about business skills. And all of these accolades, which we were proud to receive, are for a philosophy and an academic program that is dedicated to get you to be ready to be an attorney. And the first part of that is an academic program that's sequenced. You know, the traditional approach to law school is you work in your first year and you kind of, your second and third years, you just kind of take classes, participate in things that are interested to you, and then you graduate, and then what's next? Our sequential approach is very different. You see there that from the very first day that you arrive on campus, our intent is to get you thinking and get us thinking about what's going to make you a ready and effective lawyer upon graduation. So here you see our calendar in the first year. Before you take a conventional law school class, we have a required class of everyone that's called Introduction to Legal Studies. And what that does is it permits you to learn what it's like to be a law student. A 2-week intensive course that has both lecture sessions and smaller group sessions, and it's really intended to get you to be ready to be a law student. Then after that, you see there the torts and civil procedure courses, along with legal writing that goes not just for 1 term or for 2 terms, but across the entire curriculum. You see there in the middle winter term, we have the contracts and criminal law courses, but also a criminal law lab that gets you in front of people who are actually practicing criminal law, prosecutor or public defender, to get you to understand how the law that you're learning in class actually works in the courtroom. Additional section of legal writing there. And then in the third trimester of the first year, we actually permit you to take a course that you choose. So either business associations, if you might think you might be interested in doing some transactional work that first summer, or evidence, if you might be interested in the litigation side, and again, legal writing throughout all 3 trimesters of the first year curriculum. And as I said earlier, intentionally sequenced to provide you increasing levels of responsibility. The Introduction to Legal Studies course, the first year criminal lab course that I mentioned, career services programming beginning near the end of your fall term, and then the opportunity to meet actual lawyers as mentors and preceptors in the first year to get you thinking about what the kind of law that you might want to practice. And here's the full calendar. The most important thing to notice here is that after the first year, and when you come back after an additional trimester of classes, when you return from winter break, you have in either your 5th trimester, so your 2nd winter, your 2nd spring, or residency. And that's what we call the full-time work requirement, where for 10 weeks from between 32 and 36 hours a week, you are working on real legal work in a location really of your choosing. We have a large bank of potential residencies for law students who want to stay in Greensboro or want to work in North Carolina, but you can really do this anywhere you want, literally anywhere in the world. We've had several students do international residencies. So long as the law school can know that you're doing real legal work, you can really work anywhere for either that winter or spring 2L term. We also have classes offered remotely that permit you to take that class, remain connected to the law school through a class while you're working. So then after the 2L summer break, which is very important for students to figure out what they might want to do, we have a required bar exam preparation course, and then the final fall trimester and graduation in December. And you see there, this is several months earlier than the conventional 3-year program. Allows you to save some money, and it allows you to get started with your job search because you're taking a bar exam in February rather than in the summer. And again, the experiential theme continues throughout the 2nd and 3rd years. One of the few U.S. law schools that's home to a working court, bridging the study of the practice of law, permitting students to see what being in a courtroom is like, either through watching the business court, through practicing for mock trials and moot court teams in the courtroom, or visiting other courts that come to use the courtroom in the law school. The program also permits you to do dual degrees in a shorter period of time. We have an MBA, joint MBA JD degree with Elon's own business school that permits you to finish both degrees in 3 years rather than 4 or 4.5. And we also have a master's program with Vermont Law that permits you to earn both a JD and a Master's of Environmental Law and Policy in 2.5 years if you're able to take classes in Vermont your first law school summer and online subsequently. And this program was designed by a faculty that is committed to student success. We have faculty, all of whom have significant practice experience, who are engaged in current issues of law through their scholarship, and who are invested in your success and are interested in you as people. We have a small student-faculty ratio. We have faculty whose doors are always open, faculty who are working on really national and international level projects, really all intended to get to know you better and to understand what your goals are for law school. And this is all part of a university that's dedicated to engaged learning, consistent with the theme of the law school, a national university that's very much on the rise in terms of getting students outside of the classroom as a way to learn. And it takes place in a city that we think is very manageable. Large enough to have all of the exposures that a law student needs, both state and federal courts, state and federal and local agencies, but also small enough so that students can walk to school if they'd like to live that close. Offers cultural amenities and a great place if you've already decided to start down the road of having a family, a good place for young families as well. So that's a little bit about us and a little bit about the university and a little about Greensboro. If you have any questions about our academic program, please feel free to reach out, and we look forward to receiving your application. Thanks.
Hello, welcome to those of you who are
All right, so that was from our academic dean, Dean Armijo, and at this point, I am going to open it up for some questions. If you have any questions about what was shown in the video, or if you have questions for our students about academics, things of that sort. So feel free to write those in. I did already get one. So for the students, let's see, hopefully I pronounced this correctly. I was curious if any of the students or anyone they know use study tools like Quimby for the first year, and if they know if it was worth it or not.
So I'll go ahead and jump in with that. Personally, I never used anything like Quimby or online briefs, things like that. I found that even if I did look at a resource such as Quimby, where someone else told me what they thought the proper things that a law student needed to know from a case was, I personally didn't get as much out of that, and then I still wasn't prepared for class. So the best way, in my opinion, to prepare for class is to do the reading myself and make my own case briefs. That way, if I got called on, I was confident in what I was saying. I do know a few people that use Quimby, but those people primarily used it in supplement to their own work. So they would do the reading, they would brief the case, and then they would go look at Quimby before class or something to supplement what the work that they had already done. But I don't know anyone that has used it in replacement of doing the assigned readings and whatnot that the professor assigns.
Yeah, my experience with our classmates and people that I know is exactly what Hunter said. Nobody really uses it as their only form. It's supplemental if they have it, and I've also never used it.
Are the 2Ls still having fun?
Yeah, always.
Of course, I think I'm having more fun now than I did 1L year. I got once you got your fitting down and get the hang of law school, it's actually kind of very fun. And then when you get into 2-year, 2L year, Dean Woodlief, I think mentioned it a little earlier, but you have more opportunities to do things, participate with the moot court board and get involved with other things around campus. Like I'm also on the law review editorial staff. So doing stuff like that, I'm finding actually to be really fun. Might be a little nerdy as well, but that's just me.
You get to actually use the skills that you built the whole year 1L long and actually put them in practice. Like that's when it really gets fun, when you actually get to use what you learned.
Hunter, you saved that well, because I thought at first you were going to say you had more fun at home quarantine than with us at school.
No, I definitely miss being at Elon a ton.
No, you did a good job on that.
Okay, so back to 1L year. How is the introductory session for 1L?
That introductory section I found to be super beneficial. One thing like I noticed coming into law school is that it was definitely an adjustment. For me, not as much the workload wise, but the type of work that you're doing as a law student compared to what I did in undergrad. I was an exercise sports science major. I took a lot of science classes. So the homework assignments, the readings and all that was very different than anything that I was used to. So having that opportunity in that introductory session to once again get used to law school, to get used to reading cases and pulling out the necessary facts and the holdings from the court decisions and whatnot, I thought was very beneficial before you go into your full fall term where you're taking Civ Pro and torts and you're actually getting letter grades for those, as opposed to that introductory session, which is just a pass-fail class.
Yeah, it's real. When I came into law school, I had no idea what a case brief even was. So had we just jumped into that, I would have been so lost, like in real school, in torts and Civ Pro. So that 2-week session where the teachers really try to help you and teach you and walk you through it. So it kind of becomes second nature by the time you actually start your 1L year.
And with the 1L introductory session, someone asked how long that is. So orientation is 4 days, and then you go into the intro session. And I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but I believe it's 2 to 3 weeks.
That's right, 2.5 to 3 weeks, and there's some leadership embedded in that as well.
So one question is kind of along the lines of what you've already answered as far as the intro course. Someone is wanting to know, can you share more about how orientation helps 1Ls get their feet wet and how it's kind of a crash course to get ready for starting the actual doctrinal courses?
So I'm trying to reach back to my 1L summer. So before that, I'm pretty sure it started, you would go in early at like 8 or something, maybe 9. I don't really remember the exact time. And you would go in and you'd be in like a lecture, like you would be in your 1L classes with one professor, and they'll give you reading and homework from the night before. And in class, they're just going to kind of dissect everything from your case briefs and make sure that you're actually pulling the right things out of the cases. They give you like random cases from pretty much every subject. It's not really about like making sure you know the rule of the law or anything, just kind of getting you used to reading how judges write and then really what to pick out and what's relevant. And just getting used to talking in, you know, a classroom and just the environment, starting to build that community that we have at Elon. And then I believe there's like a break in between that, and then you go back and continue doing that until lunch. And then I think then you split off to smaller groups. I think that's how it went.
And then in those smaller afternoon group sessions, they would focus on more, I guess, tangible, concrete skills that you use. So how to write a case brief, what elements should be going into your briefs, like your facts, your rule, your analysis, things like that, how to look at a statute and break that then down into elements and things like that. So these little small skills that you kind of would develop either otherwise throughout law school and getting in just in your classes that really help you go into, like, let's say civil procedure, for example, which is a partially statutory based class where you have the rules of civil procedure. So then the first time that your Civ Pro professor tells you to look at rule 12b6 or whatnot, you already have an understanding of how to approach a statute to pull out the necessary elements and whatnot from that.
Do you want to add anything, Dean Woodlief?
No, I think they've done a great job about the August term. The first week of orientation, you know, like a lot of orientations, it's devoted to finding your way around, getting used to the place, meeting your colleagues and your faculty advisor and so forth. And we also, I guess this is be a good place to mention that we have a core of student mentors that are available, upper level students who are working with the incoming class during the summer and the weeks leading up to August and greet you when you get here. And they're a great resource too, to share information about not only how to navigate within the walls of the law school, but you know, maybe where is the place to get a good cup of coffee and that type of thing. And so they help out a lot, I think.
What are some steps that an incoming 1L should take prior to their first trimester?
First, relax. Just take a breather. It's like not one of the last times you actually get to relax, but it is.
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I would give would be right along that lines with Casey as far as relax. I don't know if there would be anything academic wise that I would recommend before starting school to like necessarily help you do better in law school, because that's what that August session is gonna do. And you take that time to relax, do the things that you enjoy, read a book for fun, enjoy the summer, because then when law school starts, you really hit the ground running in August and don't get much of a break until the winter break comes around.
Spend time with your friends and family while you can, especially that 1L year, like that first trimester. You're really just trying to get the hang of it. So during especially that trimester and moving forward, you're going to be wanting to spend more time on your work. So make sure that you get that time in with your family and friends. And then also, like when you're in your trimesters, make time for them as well, but just you'll schedule it out.
So this is more of a Dean Woodlief question. Is there a specific number of seats Elon is hoping to fill for the class of 2022? And how many seats have already been filled at this time?
So that's an interesting question. We have found over the last few years that 150 students in the entering class is sort of the comfort just right for us, give or take. I mean, if we had 148, that'd be fine. If we had 152, that'd be fine. But somewhere in that ballpark, I think our building is essentially made for that number of people when you have the 1Ls, 2Ls, and 3Ls together in the building. In fact, I think I haven't verified this, but I think I remember correctly, that's about how many lockers we have. We have about enough student mailboxes and student lockers that you can have 150 entering students. So it works out well. And of course, really, it's not about lockers and mailboxes. It's really about the 9-to-1 student faculty ratio. It's having the close relationships and the small classes. 75% of our classes have less than 25 people in them. And I'm sure Hunter and Casey can verify that there are some electives now that have 5 or fewer students in them. We have a really intimate relationship and get to learn from the professor and interact with them. So that size really works out well. And the other thing is, interestingly, our 3Ls graduate in December now. So, the competition for classes gets so much better in the, not that it's bad anytime, but Hunter and Casey can probably again say to the fact that in the fall, there are the full contingent, the 3 classes there. And so electives, they never fill up really, but there can be a little more size to them. But when you get to the winter and the spring, our elective classes are much smaller because the 3Ls have graduated and the 2Ls have the place to themselves essentially on electives. Plus several of them, half of them essentially are out on residency and taking just one course. So this size just really works out well, and we're finding it to be a very comfortable one. I can't remember, was there another part of the question?
About how many have we filled already? So we're about
Yeah, I would say, and that's a little bit hard to answer. I would say we've made about 2/3 of the way through the process. We are not even at the first deposit deadline yet because that's tomorrow, April 15th, and then the second deposit's due May 15th. So, there's some story to be told as we go forward, but I would say roughly 2/3 of the way through the process. But we do, as you know, do rolling admissions, and we do admit a good number of people through the summer as well. So it's an ongoing process for us. We're engaging with you all now, but you will have new classmates joining in May and June and July as we approach the start of the school year.
Let's see. What has been your favorite part of attending Elon Law?
My favorite part was I actually did residency last trimester. So right after winter break, I did my residency at the public defender's office in Forsyth County, and being able to, like I said earlier, put what I've learned for the prior 4 trimesters in action. I got to participate in my first trial, and that was just super cool. So you really feel like a real attorney, and Elon prepared me for that. So that was awesome.
My favorite part has been the size of the school. So for undergrad, I went to a much larger school with like 22,000 undergraduate students. And I loved where I went to undergrad, but now here being at Elon, where it's much smaller, there's only about 150 students per class, as Dean Woodlief just mentioned. I've really enjoyed being at school and where I can go into class and I know everyone that's there and I recognize everyone's face and I can build those relationships with my classmates, and not only the classmates, but also the professors. I've gotten to know several of my professors very well here at Elon, whether it's going into their office to talk about what we learned in class that day, or if it's just like Professor Perkins, who teaches Civ Pro, I've gone to her office and we've talked about puzzles just randomly or like whatnot, and building those relationships with my classmates and professors. I've really enjoyed, and I think the size of Elon has helped foster those relationships.
Do either of you know at this stage in law school what area of law you want to practice?
Yeah, I came in wanting to do criminal law, and most people don't know what they want to do when they come into 1L, which is 100% fine. I was a rare one. So yeah, I did.
So you stuck with that?
Yeah, I'm stuck. They got me.
I wouldn't say I 100% know what I want to do like Casey does. I know I have things that I'm interested in and things that I've enjoyed in law school. The only thing that I would say I don't want to do is probably criminal law.
Got it covered. No, no worries.
All right, let's see. Do you find Elon to have a competitive nature amongst the students?
So my response to this, which I've been asked this question particularly several times on tours, has always been that there is the way that law school works in general is that where how most schools are on a mandatory and curve and whatnot creates a natural base level of competitiveness because only X amount of people can get an A and things like that, and then how there's class ranks. So there's that base level of competitiveness that's always naturally going to be there because of the way the grading system works. However, at Elon, I don't think there is the overly competitive nature that I've heard and overly competitive horror stories I've heard from colleagues elsewhere where like a study supplement or something might be hid, like someone might take it in the library and hide it just so other people can't use it. That 100% doesn't happen here at Elon, which is why I love Elon. And like being on campus and in classes, I know that I could approach any of my classmates and ask them a question about the class if it's something that I know that they're doing particularly well in, whether it's one of my like 5 close friends or whether it's just someone that I recognize because we go to class with, and I could ask them a question or how they are feeling about a class, and they'd be open and honest about it. So there's not any sort of competitive nature where you're trying to do better than someone else or put someone else down. Everyone's striving to do the best for ourselves because then that helps the entire school improve. But there is that slight nature of competitiveness, like I said, that's just naturally created by a class being graded on a curve.
Hunter said it best. Exactly what he said.
Okay. One thing I'm just going to confirm. So Dean Woodlief mentioned the deposit deadline being tomorrow. So there was a little confusion. There are a handful of you on here that were just admitted recently. Congratulations. So those of you do have a different deadline because we try to give everybody at least 2 weeks. So just follow that deadline that's in your email and you'll be good.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Let's see. Next. How much time would you say is good to give yourself before you start school? I'll be quitting my job. Would you say a week is enough or should I come 3 weeks early? Hunter, Casey, either of you moved down ahead of time?
I moved down, so I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where I'm at right now, at my parents' house. I came down a month early just because I kind of wanted to get like the lay of the land before August session, and that's also when my lease started. I didn't really get to choose that, so I think either way, I know people like you'll start to have like the Elon Facebook page, and people will start posting in there like, "Hey, I moved in. If you want to do anything, you can start going." Meeting people out, getting lunch and coffee like that. So really, I don't think whether it's a week or a month, I don't think anything's really too soon or not soon enough.
Yeah, I think that's a personal decision because like I was not coming as far away as Pennsylvania, but I moved from Raleigh, so about an hour and a half away to Elon. And I think I moved into my apartment the first or second week of July, but then went back to Raleigh and stayed at my parents' place and continued to work at the job I was working, and then didn't come to Greensboro permanently until the Sunday before orientation started. So there's just a little contrast between what Casey and I did. So it's very much a personal preference and what you think is going to benefit you most as an individual.
Yeah, so I would just add to that, you know, I work with students every year coming in and, you know, we have students that move in the day before orientation starts and that's totally doable. It might not be the best thing and it might be better to have a few days to settle in and unpack and everything, but Sometimes time doesn't allow for that. So I think that having a good week to be able to unpack and kind of get your bearings and everything is a good enough amount of time. But if you have 3 weeks that you're able to come early, then that's not going to hurt either, as far as being able to, you know, meet up with some of your classmates ahead of time and get to know them. But you certainly won't be behind if you come a week out. Would you like to add anything, Dean Woodlief?
No, I think y'all covered it.
Okay. Let's see what else we have here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show another video, and this is going to be Dean Wendy Scott, our Dean of the Office of Academic Success, and she is going to share a little bit about what her office does to help students, and also some things that you could do to, you know, prepare, or things to think about as you are getting ready for law school. As Hunter and Casey mentioned, it's important to relax and enjoy kind of your last summer before law school. But if you are looking for something to read or something like that, I think she's going to give you some good recommendations. So I'll go ahead and share that with you guys.
And thank you for taking the time to learn more about the Elon University School of Law Office of Academic Success. My name is Wendy Scott, and I serve as the Associate Dean for the Office of Academic Success. And along with a staff of attorneys and experienced legal educators, our goal is to make sure that you are not only a successful law student, but that you are also successful in passing the bar examination. Now, one of the things that makes law school so stressful is not knowing what to expect. And that's where OAS comes in. Because starting in the August term and all the way through to the end of your first year and beyond, the Office of Academic Success is here to help you navigate the study of the law, to help you figure out what it takes to be a successful law student. So for instance, we suggest reading, and one of the best books that I've come across lately is a book by Alex Ruskell, R-U-S-K-E-L-L, called The Model Law Student. We use that book in the Introduction to Legal Studies class because we believe that it's important for you to learn skills as well as law. Now, one of the things that the law school is required to do, according to the requirements of the ABA, is to make sure that you leave law school with a basic fundamental understanding of legal principles, that you're able to solve legal problems, that you write well, that you analyze well. And all of that comes with practice. And that's one of the things that we provide you with in the Office of Academic Success. In our year-long Introduction to Legal Studies course, in our Bar Exam Foundations course at the end of your studies as a law student, and in between in the various programs and online courses that we offer. And so I encourage you to visit our website to learn more about the Office of Academic Success and to learn more about what it means to be a successful law student. We look forward to seeing you at Elon, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
All right. Dean Woodlief, would you like to follow that up with anything?
I would just mention that Dean Scott, you know, she was the dean at another law school, has been an associate dean for many years, and a legal educator. So she brings a great deal of experience to leading her department, and she's joined by 3 other faculty members who are just excellent at their work as well, and they work closely with students. Academic success, you know, academic preparation during school, and then of course bar preparation as you And of course, bar preparation happens throughout the 2.5 years, but particularly as you approach the bar in your last year and get ready for that, they lead that program and do an excellent job. The deans were looking at some statistics just yesterday, and we saw of the 1L students who have worked with the Office of Academic Success this year, so between the fall and the winter, 85% of the students who worked with them increased their GPA. So I thought that was really pretty impressive. So I would certainly advocate for folks to take advantage of that office, because you have your professors, and they're of course going to help you learn the material in torts or civil procedure, but there are some skills, as Dean Scott talked about, the comprehending what you're reading and how to approach an exam, how to write an essay exam, how to, things like multiple choice questions when you can always get down to the last two and which one do you pick, or do you run into that trap of second guessing yourself and changing your multiple choice answer at the last second when you would have been better off. I mean, there's some skills to taking tests that they can help with as well, in addition to skills on studying. And so I would just encourage everybody to take advantage of that. All too often, I think people associate offices of academic success with, you go see them if you're having trouble, sort of the rescue situation. And I would encourage people to use it as a resource on the front end to prepare themselves to continue that August term experience where you're getting that preparation for being a law student, and take advantage of them throughout the process.
We had somebody ask about dates for orientation in the fall. Those have been set, and right now orientation is set to start on August 4th. For other fall dates, those are up on the academic calendar on the website. I can certainly send that out in an attachment to all of you in an email as well, or post it on the Facebook page. So for more details for that, stay tuned. Okay, so this is more of a question along the lines of Office of Career and Student Development. So maybe after this question, maybe we'll watch a quick clip about that. I'm interested in doing an internship abroad. When do you recommend starting to prepare, applying, and does Elon help you in the process?
So it's interesting, and I'll let the students weigh in as well, but there used to be a more restrictive set of rules regarding career services and first-year students. And I think the rules used to be that career services could not help students until December, that it was sort of a hands-off, and you had to essentially let students focus on being a student before they focused on getting a job, which makes some sense. And certainly you do want to not put the cart before the horse. But on the other hand, you want to be prepared. And so I think now the rules have allowed for more interaction earlier in the fall term. And we do assign each student a career counselor. That office, the Office of Career and Student Development, has 5 professionals that help both in career services and student life, student affairs, but they are there as a resource. And so I would encourage taking advantage of them as early as possible. I mean, it can't happen too early to start that counseling and talking to them and getting their advice and suggestions and assistance. Some of that is mining their connections and the law school's connections, our resources in terms of alumni and friends of the school. By the time it's kind of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, by the time you do who I know and who they know and so forth, it's pretty exponential, the amount of connections we can leverage to help students out. So I would just encourage to start those discussions early. Now, it may be that they pick up more steam as the first year goes along and as you get more of a solid foundation, but you can certainly start those conversations early. Hunter and Casey, do you have anything to add to career services?
So I think there is still a time restriction on when you can meet with them, but it's not quite as late as it used to be. I think it's somewhere, I could be wrong on this, around October,
I think it's
but
October now instead of December. Yeah.
yeah. And then 1Ls are not allowed to start applying to internships until sometime in December, if I remember correctly. But as far as like, to more specifically towards the question, I don't have any experience in looking into an international internship. That's just not somewhere that I've looked into, but like it's never too early to start looking. Like if you know that you're interested in doing something abroad, but you don't know quite what, you could look into what type of international law opportunities there may be out there. And then once you do get on campus and that October deadline comes around, you can start talking to Office of Career Services about updating your resume and your cover letter, getting things like that ready as early as possible, because those are things that can always be improved. And the resume specifically, get that ready no matter where you're going to send it to. And then talk to are like Ms. Mancrini and Dean Duncan in the Office of Career and Student Development, because I do know in the graduating class before Casey and I, so class of 2019, I believe there was someone who did their residency in New Zealand. So you could talk to Ms. Mancrini and Dean Duncan and ask them if they know anybody that has done an international residency that they might be able to put you in contact with and ask questions. And then that could be a resource that they could hook you up with and talk about the processes that those students took in finding those residencies or internships.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the date that Hunter said is in October. But once that date, they're 100% willing to help you. You'll also have at some point, once that date passes where they can talk to you, you'll have your 1L resume blitz, or you'll bring your resume in and they'll check it with you in office appointment, and then the same thing with your cover letter, I believe in the winter trimester. So they really are there to help you. And I don't really know anything about the study abroad internship thing, but I'm sure they'll help you.
Yeah, they definitely will. And I was going to mention, I think this came up either tonight or another night, that one student this year was supposed to go to Guam for their residency. And as it turns out, with the way travel is now, that didn't work out, unfortunately. But my understanding is that some of those connections were forged through one of our faculty members and connections. And then we have another faculty member, Professor Gabriel, and you can find all our faculty on our website, but he has extensive international connections. And I know there have been several students over the years who have done their internships and residencies in Italy, in The Hague, and in other European settings based on some of the connections that Professor Gabriel and others. So take advantage, again, being a small school, as this has come up earlier tonight, the luxury of having these connections with faculty, and different faculty have different areas of emphasis and different connections and so forth. And, taking advantage of those and getting their advice and using their networks is not a bad thing too. So do not only use the Office of Career and Student Development, but rely on your faculty and others as well.
And since I've been talking about Dean Duncan and the students in Dean Woodlief have as well, I will go ahead and share a quick clip with you that she recorded for you all. So let's get that.
Hi, I'm Melissa Duncan, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Career and Student Development at Elon Law. Congratulations on your acceptance to Elon Law. As an alumna of the law school, I'm very excited to welcome you to the Elon Law community, and I hope that we get to see you here in the next academic year. Today, I want to talk to you about the offerings of the Office of Career and Student Development and what we do for our prospective students, our law students, and our graduates from Elon Law. So we're an office that combines both what you would know as career services, perhaps from your undergraduate experience, and student life. So we're a combined office. We have a team of 5 folks, And we support students in a lot of their non-academic endeavors. So you would think of that as opportunities to find summer internships, academic year internships, postgraduate jobs. We help with all of that for our students. And we help students every day with resumes, cover letters, how to find attorneys that they can network with, how to learn more about practice areas. We help set up informational interviews with local attorneys. We also help connect our alumni with our students. And we also provide opportunities for students to come in and have a mock interview before they have a real interview. We provide students and graduates with information about salaries so that they can appropriately negotiate salaries when the time is right. And we support the residency and practice program by making sure that our students are feeling supported through the process of determining what type of residency they might want to do. In addition, we offer a lot of opportunities for students to participate in job fairs, not only locally, but also within the state of North Carolina, within the region, and nationally. There are several great job fairs that every year we participate in, and we have had a lot of success with, and we're very proud of our students and graduates for that success. In addition to supporting students in their career goals, we also support students in the development of themselves as a future lawyer and making sure that they maintain wellness during law school. And so what that looks like here at Elon Law is providing daily support to our students, both as a group and as some subgroups, and then of course as individuals. We have a director of student life who is dedicated to thinking about the issues that law students face as people here while they're at Elon Law. And so we get to know each of you as a person, and we offer a lot of student organizations that students are very interested in participating in, and those are usually based around practice areas. So if you're interested in family law or criminal law or any type of law, we probably have a student organization that is dedicated to bringing those students together who have a common goal of perhaps practicing in that area of law. A lot of these student organizations like to bring in speakers and have networking opportunities for their students, and we also support those goals for our students in the student organizations. Additionally, we support the Student Bar Association, and that is the student government of the law school. If you're interested, you would be able to perhaps run as a class representative or as an executive for an executive position. So we have a president, vice president, we have a secretary and a treasurer, and our Student Bar Association is dedicated to setting goals of bringing all of our law students together. And that often looks like activities at the nearby park in downtown Greensboro, setting up a tailgate for Elon's homecoming, and bringing together both students and alumni. And then of course our annual Barristers Ball, where our law students like to come together to get dressed up and have a nice dinner and a nice evening of fun and dancing. Additionally, we also have some student organizations that are dedicated to bringing students together based on personal life experiences and other types of affinity groups. So we have a Black Law Students Association, we have a Women's Law Association, we have a LGBTQIA Law Students Association called Outlaw, and a lot of other organizations that are based on the personal lives and personal interests of our students and those groups with whom they either identify or might be supportive of as an ally. During your time at Elon Law, I think you'll find that one of the hallmarks of our program is that you are known as a person and not just a number. You will be known to our faculty and our staff, and especially our team in the Office of Career and Student Development. We really try to get to know our students and learn what you're interested in, what might be stressful to you, and we like to think about how we can help you. Every week, we offer a community coffee and conversation in the Commons where we offer donuts and coffee, and we usually set out some puzzles and just have a great opportunity to get together with our students and answer questions that students may have. And then of course, we're also available for individual appointments, and we do those nearly every day. So that's a little bit about the Office of Career and Student Development and what you can expect if you are able to join us this fall, which I hope that you're able to do so. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Office of Career and Student Development at lawcareers@elon.edu. We're more than happy to answer your questions and to make sure that you feel prepared as you come in to join us in the fall as an Elon Law student. Congratulations.
All right, so that was Dean Duncan, and I think that a few of you asked a couple questions during that. If you have any questions about the Office of Career and Student Development, you can send those in real quick. We have a few more minutes. So one of the questions that came in is there a plan or preparation being put in place should we not be able to be in person at Elon in August due to COVID-19? If the decision is made that we will do virtual classes, when would we receive that information?
So we certainly are considering that. I mean, I think any planful person would have to be considering the possibilities that could happen. And the university, Elon as a whole, and the law school are, of course, like everyone, I'm sure every night you're watching the news and following developments, and we're doing the same. And we are planning out essentially different scenarios. Obviously, we all hope that we'll be able to be in person in August and to proceed as normal. But we are thinking about situations ranging from completely online, as you mentioned, which we are doing right now, as most law school, I guess all law schools and universities are at this point. But also we're thinking about the sort of in between, you know, if we are able to be back, but having to be very conscious of social distancing and making sure people are healthy and safe, and how that would be handled in terms of space and class sizes and things like that. So we are in the process of mapping that out and planning that the best we can. But with the idea now, based on projections, that we would hope to be back in person. So as to when we would decide, I can't give you a definite date on that, but you know, certainly as the summer progresses, you know, I think, you know, we would certainly try to do that as soon as possible, both you know, for your sake, so you can make plans, but also so we can deliver a top-rate legal education in whatever format we're required to do that. So rest assured, we will let you know as soon as possible, but it's a little premature right now as we evaluate things, but we will continue to monitor things, and we'll let people know as soon as anything changes from, like I said, right now, our plan based on projections is to open on time on August 4th.
So I'm gonna give you a few minutes. If you have any last minute questions you want to write in, you can do that now. Is there anything that Hunter or Casey that you'd like to add to Dean Duncan's video, or anything that you'd like to add, Dean Woodlief? Is there anything any of you would like to add?
Hunter and Casey, do y'all have anything?
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear what you were saying.
I agree. We're having a little technical difficulties. I just think do y'all have anything you wanted to add about career services? Or I know you mentioned earlier about your residency experience and how good that was. But anything else about the services of that office or student life? You're on, for instance, SBA. I know very engaged with that, and student life. Anything to add on that?
First for the Office of Career and Student Development, they're great. They're so helpful. I literally just got my resume back today. I sent my resume. They have like a little Dropbox online that you can send at any time, and within a few business days, they'll get it back with edits. So pretty much anytime I edit my resume, I send it to them. They're super helpful, they're super nice, and they're always willing to answer questions. And they're super friendly. Um, and then I'm on the executive board for SBA, and that's a really good way just to get involved with the student body and with the deans and professors. So definitely look into that when you get here.
Yeah, very good. Now, the SBA does a great job of, they're also a liaison between, as Casey alluded to, the liaison between the students and the administration and a sounding board, because sometimes, with 375 students, it's hard to maybe get your, voice out there, even though I will say, I think everyone's very accessible at Elon Law and has an open door policy, but sometimes you want to go through representative government instead of going and seeing people. And so the SBA is great to bring suggestions and questions from the student body, and they funnel those to the administration, and it works very well. We enjoy that relationship with the SBA. So.
All right, well, I think we are out of time now. If we did happen to skip over your question tonight, definitely shoot me an email or email law admissions, and we would be happy to answer your question or chat with you. We could also set up a time for you to speak with one of our students to talk about their experiences as well. So feel free to reach out. Is there anything that you wanted to end with, Dean Woodlief?
No, again, just thanks to Hunter and Casey and Jordan. Thanks for everybody's participation. Thanks to all the students who came online tonight. We will have other events coming up over the next few weeks. We try to engage everyone throughout the spring and summer as we build towards August, and we'll continue to be able to answer questions for you as we proceed and share information going forward. But we're looking forward to, again, all hope, for everyone is that things get back to normal and that we will be in person in August. But we will certainly keep you posted as things develop, and we just hope everybody stays well and safe, and we can come together soon.
All right. Well, thank you, Hunter and Casey and Dean Woodlief, and thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. As Dean Woodlief said, we will have more events like these to keep everybody engaged and to also share opportunities with you, and so that you have chances to speak with our current students as well as learn from other faculty members. So be on the lookout for emails about upcoming events, and I will share that academic calendar with you guys as well. And if there's anything else like that y'all would like to see, feel free to reach out. But for now, I hope you all have a great night, and we'll be in touch soon.
Hey, good night.
Night.